All right, greetings, YouTube. This is Beautiful Mind. I just got this question from a student on graphing this on a graphing calculator on another app that I tutor on. Um, I tutor, I tutor on this app called Pundits. It's paid, but that's how that goes. But it's really nice. Students just send in pictures, and then they ask their questions. And basically, what you see me doing on YouTube is what I do for Pundits. So it's the same thing. Um, but a question, but this one I like YouTube better because I have more freedom. I can use my own personal note-taking app, and I can use some other things. But it's all in what you want. So this question came in about graphing exponentials on a calculator. Let me do a quick demo on if we were to graph this by hand. So the function in question is let's go like this. You're gonna say is f of x equal to 1/2 8 to the power of x, like this, right? So now, if I were doing this by hand, let me do some graph paper. So now if I were doing this by hand, I would get something like the following. All right. So I think the student made a table of points. So if we did like our x and our y, right? So then they chose like -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So when x is -2, that's going to be 1 over 8 squared. That's a 1 over 64 times 2 is 1 over 128. So it's like 1 over 128. Then when x is -1, that's a 1 over 8. So that's 1 over 16. When x is 0, that's a half. When x is 1, that's 8 divided by 2 is 4. And when x is 2, 64 divided by 2 is 32. Okay. So they got this table of values. All right. So then the question came in on how to do this in a graphing calculator, and let's do this by hand. So I chose. We went from -2, so we can go. We'll make 1, 2, 3. There's a 1, 1, 2, 3. We'll make this 2 here. We'll do it like this. Okay, so this is 1 and this is 2. 1, that's too far. That's fine. 1, 2, 3. There's a 1, 1, 2, 3. 2 is there. This is -1, -2. So positive y, positive x. All right. You know what? I don't need that to be so spaced out. Let me back up. Let's do one more. Okay. So I'll just do 1 and 2, 1 and 2. So we'll go 1, 2, -1, -2, right? Positive x. Then the y's, we go up to 32. And we really only need the positive end. So what I will do is move this. Since we don't really go negative, so I'll position it like that. We're really close to 0, then we get up to 32. So I'll go 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, this is positive y, positive x. This for my 10, 20, 30, 40. This would be like -10 here. Okay. So now if we kind of set our window like this, now that's one thing with the exponentials. You want to have the appropriate viewing window. You just have to kind of look at your data and think about what's going to give you the best image. So then now if we were to plot this, when x is -2, we're really, really close to 0, just slightly positive. When x is -1, we're still really, really close to 0, just a little bit further away. When x is 0, we're at a half. So if that's 5, that's 2.5. So a half is still really, really close to 0. Probably even closer than that. Now when x is 1, we go up to 4. So if that's 5, that means 4 is here. When x is 2, we go up to 32. So 2, there's 30, there's 35. So 32 is about here. Okay. So what you see here, this is the general shape of exponentials. Okay. They tend to start off, and they typically have a horizontal asymptote like that. So there's usually a horizontal asymptote. They get really, really close to 0, provided you don't move up or down, but they don't cross. So typically, for exponentials, The domain, so the very left to the very right, that's going to be negative infinity to infinity, right? The range is going to be, it goes from the very bottom to the very top. It goes down to 0, up to infinity. Infinity always gets parentheses. In this case, because of the horizontal asymptote, it gets really close to 0, but it doesn't cross, so 0 gets in parentheses, okay? So now this is the general shape of an exponential. So then now let's answer the question that came in. And the question came in on how to do this in the graphing calculator, okay? So in the graphing calculator, let's see, I would do, in a TI-83 Plus, I would do the following. So I'll go to y equals in the upper left-hand corner, okay? My y equals, I'm just going to put the original in, which is the 1/2. I put the 1/2 in parentheses. Then I say, open parentheses, 8. You can say close parentheses to the power of x. You can say that. Now, the other thing that we need the appropriate viewing window. So now, since our data is similar, if I see my x's go from -2 to 2, my y's pretty much go from 0 to 40. So we need the appropriate viewing window. So I'll go down, I'll say x goes from -3, I go to +3, and then I go in steps of 1. Now my y min, I'll go to -10, okay, I'm going to go up to 40, and I want to go in steps of 10. So that way it'll match, -10 up to 40, and I want to go in steps of 10. So now it'll match the drawing. It should match the drawing that I have, okay? So with this viewing window, and provided I put it in correctly, we should get a graph that looks fairly close to what we drew by hand. All right, so it starts close and it takes off at 2. It starts to skyrocket, okay? So, you know, after all this studying of mathematics we're doing, we know our accounts are going to look like this. So it's going to be great. The projected profit value is going to grow exponentially without bound, you know, without change. You know, that'll be great, you know. Anyway, that's just being silly and fun. All right, so with that, we will end this session here. And from one beautiful mind to another, enjoy the rest of your time.